trying to get Mark Herzlich on last week, kind enough to join us for a couple moments. The Giants veteran linebacker, and good to catch up with you, Mark. How you been, pal?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Well, we appreciate a couple moments, and it's interesting because I had your team in on Landon Collins yesterday, and we were talking about all the moves that the Giants made in the offseason as far as a defensive standpoint. I'm just wondering, the way it panned out last year with all those blown leads in the fourth quarter, after the season ends, as a player, as a team as a whole, you guys had that sour taste in your mouth, and it seems as though, all right, we can't wait for next year for training camp to begin. And then you add to boot that you spend a substantial amount of money to shore up that defense. So going into the season, a little more chip on your shoulder to try to close out these games in the fourth quarter?
It's definitely a focus of ours, especially after last year. I mean, we had... there were multiple games where I think it was 11 games last year that came down to the last 2 minutes of the game, and I think 6 of them we lost. Right, so it was that's big. A big emphasis this year is finishing the games the right way, and that comes down to practicing it correctly and making sure we make most of every single play.
As far as, you look at yourself and you've overcome so much, which is really a tribute to your character and what you've had to overcome in life. And, it seems as though right around this time, there's that question, all right, is Herzlich going to make it through? Is he going to get that roster spot? Is he going to survive? And I can hear you kind of chuckling. I mean, do you get tired of that conversation after everything you kind of went through? You're probably like, this is second nature. I can care less.
No, well, I mean, it's your, it's, for us, it's our jobs, right? So all of us are doing job interviews, and I think that really at this point for me, it's I'm going to do everything that I can to be the player that I can be. If that's something that is going to help the Giants, then I'll be around. If not, then I'll look other places. But that's my focus now, is not worrying about numbers, worrying about guys here, guys there, positions. Sure. It's just about doing as much as I can do myself.
What is, and again, not speaking for the defense, but just kind of give us an overview. Do you sense some of these moves? I mean, on paper, logically and logistically, you say to yourself, wow, the Giants really shored up that defense. They've added a bunch of pass rushers. You got some secondary help. You've got some guys getting their feet wet a little more at the linebacker spot. I mean, you get the sense, like, on paper, okay, this can be a really good defense, as opposed to the last several years where you couldn't protect those leads late.
Well, I think that it's not just paper. That's kind of the good thing. You can have a great defense on paper, but from what I'm seeing in practice, we got some guys who can really add to where maybe we've been lacking. But as a whole, we've come together, and I think that I think a lot of people kind of forget that this is the second year in Spags' system, and I think that a lot of the things that maybe were unclear or maybe that we were working through are coming together now, and with the addition of these guys coming into free agency and also the rookies coming in. I've been impressed in practice, and I think that we'll see a glimpse of it Friday night. But then as we get going into the season, it'll be something really spectacular.
Well, Giants finally have some depth, veteran linebackers such as yourself as well, with Robinson and Shepard and Brinkley and Casillas, and we mentioned the pass rushers, the secondary help. You're right. I mean, a lot of people do believe the offense is going to be able to put up a lot of points. And then you kind of see how the season plays out. I'm just curious. I asked Landon this the other day. The difference between McAdoo and Coughlin during a training camp, because I know Coach Coughlin was a guy, just blow the whistle, go to a drill, go to the drill. Do you see a little bit of that difference, or at this stage of the game, hey, it's training camp, whoever's out there is blowing the whistle, they're blowing the whistle?
Well, I mean, I think that McAdoo's already got his touch on this team, and when you have it doesn't matter if he was trained under Coughlin or anything. They're just they're different people, and we have someone else at the head of the meeting room and the head of this team, and it's going to be different. In my opinion, I loved Coughlin, and from what I'm seeing from Ben so far, I'm loving what he's doing as well. I think right now a lot of the work that we as players do individually is with our position coaches, and there's so much individual technique work going on right now. But Ben is done a great job of getting into, really, I think he's worked hard on getting into the defense too, because he has such a handprint on the offense because he was here putting that offense into this team. That I think he's said, I need to get myself on the defensive side of the ball. I need to, get to know these players really well, and also, just be around them so they get to feel comfortable with me, and he's done a great job of that.
Giants veteran linebacker Mark Herzlich, kind enough to join us for a couple moments. Rich Quinones here. A couple more for you, and again, I appreciate it. I know it's tough from a defensive standpoint, but do you ever kind of look on the offensive side of the ball and say to yourself, all right, you get a healthy Victor Cruz, you got Shepard, you got Beckham, you got some players in the slot, you got that ground game going, you got Eli that doesn't seem to miss a beat coming into his own again, another year under this offense. Kind of sky's the limit. I know it's tough to say from a defensive standpoint, but you're practicing, you're going against these guys on a daily basis. Do you ever kind of sit back and say, this offense can score some points?
Yeah, that's not tough at all to say from a defensive standpoint. That's great to say from a defensive standpoint.
Well, sure, benefit. I mean, benefit you guys. You talk to me week 6, and all of a sudden we're talking about how'd you let that 17-point or 14-point lead go by the wayside? Yeah, that's a bad conversation.
Yeah, no, that's bad. Right now it's great. I'm excited to see what these guys are going to be able to do when they get, in real life game situations, and I already know that Eli's going to be himself, which is a great thing. And he has some added weapons, and we're going to get the ground game going more. And it's going to be fun to be. It's always fun to play defense when you got a great offense.
I got 2 more for you, and I want to ask you one from a personal standpoint, because everyone knows your backstory, the fact that you beat cancer, and everyone remembers you just kind of that wild man with Boston College, and then, okay, is he going to find a home in the NFL? And you found a home with the Giants the last several years. That battle, when you have to deal with that type of illness, that's a one-on-one battle, right? That's the only person that can help you is yourself. And I'm just wondering, what did you take away? What were you able to learn about yourself as a person to deal with that and overcome it?
Well, it's interesting. Yes, you are the one who has the battle going on inside your body, but I think that what I learned most of all is that it can't just be a one-on-one battle. For me, my community, I think people maybe say all the time, "Oh, my community helped me," but the way that comes into practice is, people in my town made meals for us, big dinners, provided us, with things that kind of helped us get through the time, not necessarily medically, but in terms of supporting my parents, so they were able to be there for me while I was going through my treatments. And then, I think for me too, it becomes something that does put a lot of burden on yourself. And I found my faith in God with that battle, and I knew that I had to put some stuff on him too, because I wasn't able to do it all by myself.
Listen, I got about 30 seconds. I'm not going to put you on the spot, but I'm going to kind of put you on the spot. So in our backyard, we cover a lot of the Philadelphia Eagles. So we air them at the station, and there's a report going on that Lane Johnson might get hit with a 10-game suspension for PED use. I got to ask a player this, because I know you were a gym rat as well. The supplements, nutrition, everything. A player's got to know what they stick in their body, do they not?
Yeah, I mean, the problem, which we talk all the time about, and talk to players about, and really warn them, is that nothing in the supplement world is FDA approved. There are factories producing something that's bad that might not be on the label for the thing you're taking. So
yeah,
you gotta regardless of whether you know it is in it or not, you're responsible for what goes in your body, and that's something that us as players have to be very cautious about.
All right, listen, we'll leave it at that. Listen, I appreciate it. The best of luck going forward. Hopefully we'll talk during the season, and appreciate a couple moments today.
Yeah, great.
All
Thanks a
right,
lot.
you got it, Mark. Take care of yourself. Mark Herzlich.